Playing multiplayer Game Boy games is a bit of a hassle because being tethered by a short-length link cable takes effort. So if you take the time to play Game Boy Advance multiplayer games, the payoff better justify the work. Unfortunately, this is not the case as I have 15 of the worst Game Boy Advance Single-Pak linking games. The good news is you only need one copy of the game to play these multiplayer games, but that doesn't mean they deserve your attention. American Bass Challenge is a bold game because it brags about its Single-Pak link mode on the front of the box, but it's one of the most boring multiplayer offerings on the system. Even if you understood the unintuitive controls, there's only one fish to catch. And by some miracle, if you manage to catch the fish before your opponent, the winner is punished by being forced to wait in silence until the other players finish or time expires. And with no options to adjust, rods, reels, or lines to change, this is one miserable fishing experience. Remember Driven, Sylvester Stallone's best movie of all time according to everybody that's ever lived? Well, it received a GBA game for some reason. And even more baffling, the developers included a Single-Pak link multiplayer mode for 4 players. But the lack of options, there's only one track and one playable car, and completely void of any excitement, Driven's Multiboot mode is easily one of the worst on the system. The only positive aspect of this giant skid mark is that the race is over quickly. Unfortunately, NASCAR Heat 2002 might as well be called Driven 2 because it uses the same game engine including the Single-Pak mode. The only playable vehicle looks like a taxi, controls are slippery, and there's no turn indicator, so you'll probably spend most of your time off the road. The collision detection is also awful, giving this game no reason to connect a link cable. Although it has some Mario Kart-like weapons and different playable vehicles, the GBA version of Micro Machines is one of the worst on the system. Load times are long and all GBAs must be restarted if you wanted to switch tracks. Plus, the play control is so loose it's like driving on ice. Fans are much better off playing with the tiny physical toys from the 80s. There are a few Mahjong titles exclusive to Japan that feature a Single-Pak link multiplayer mode. Unfortunately, no one knows how to play Mahjong, and these Single-Pak modes all look and play exactly the same. And these won't be the titles that teach you the rules. Even though Mahjong Detective and Yakuman Advance feature this foreign board game, there are other card and board game compilations that also feature Mahjong. The GBA actually has so many Mahjong games, it's actually pretty amazing. And if by some miracle you know how to play, odds are your potential linked friends do not. So maybe stay away from Mahjong and go play something like Chess Master instead. Ultimate Winter Games features a few linkable mini-games and one of the few games to actually showcase the one game pack 2 players link it up logo on the front of the box. But nothing here is worth your time. Instead, go play the Single-Pak mode in Ultimate Card Games, which is fantastic, or even Ultimate Brain Games. I know the Sonic Advance series has its fans, but the Single-Pak link mode found in Sonic Advance 1, 2, 3, and even Sonic Battle are some of the most uneventful on the system. The goal of the Multiboot in Sonic Advance 1 and 2 is to try to collect more rings than your opponent before a time expires, whereas Sonic 3 is similar but has players holding a randomly placed Chow for longer. Sonic Battle might even be worse despite having the most variety within its Single-Pak link mode. However, in order to play 4 of the 5 minigames in Sonic Battle, you need to suffer through the repetitive, unresponsive, and button-mashy single-player mode. The payoff also sucks because these unlockable minigames are not fun. In fact, one of these minigames is a recreation of classic Minesweeper and you don't even play against an opponent. You send a copy of the game to a GBA in standby mode. While these 4 Sonic games have entirely skippable Single-Pak multiplayer modes, it's recommended to play the Single-Pak mode in Sonic Pinball Party instead. It actually has a surprise co-op option that isn't so bad. There are 4 mini-games in Disney's Party, but 3 of them must be unlocked by suffering through the awful and nearly unplayable single-player campaign. Even if you have the patience to unlock them, none of them are fun and the GBAs must be restarted if you wanted to switch between them. This was just another quick license cash-in trying to snag some of that Mario Party money. Woody Woodpecker in Crazy Castle 5 is another multi-boot in which nothing happens. Each player takes control of a C-list cartoon character and plays a 2-minute game of tag. From a boring side-scrolling 2D perspective, the highlight is climbing this super sweet ladder as there's no options or special abilities or anything to make the game exciting. This is just another license hurry up and get it out the door cash in. Bomberman Max 2, Blue and Red are some of the most disappointing games on this list because they completely abandon the classic Bomberman gameplay. Instead of the wonderful, timeless top-down Bomberman, someone thought it would be a good idea to make it into a 2D side-scroller. With mappy-like jump pads and weird spin-off characters, this is gameplay no one wants and no one should play. Instead, go play any of the other 3 Bomberman GBA games because those single-pack link modes are actually some of the best on the system. The 5 single-pack linking games in Rugrats I Gotta Go Party are all terrible and not worth the hassle of connecting link cables. Even though the visuals are bright and look like the TV show, each linkable minigame requires the GBAs to be restarted and none of them are fun. Again, another licensed IP quick cash-in. Even though these games are horrible, I still feel like they deserve some respect and recognition. The fact that they exist is a win in their own right because the developers didn't need to take the time, effort, and money to create these multiplayer modes probably so few people have played. So even though they carry low entertainment value, I think it's cool that they exist in the first place. There are over 1,500 games released for the GBA, but about 100 of them included a single-pack link multiplayer mode. Therefore, these games are still unique even though they're not particularly good. But what do you think? Have you played any of these games? Will you steer clear of them now? What are some of your favorite linking Game Boy games? Let me know in the comments. And if you like this worst of video, then you might want to check out my best of video where I cover the top 15 single-pack linking games on Game Boy Advance. I also covered every multi-boot compatible game with its own dedicated video, so be sure to check out my single-pack playlist right here on my channel. Links will be in the description. Until next time, thank you for watching and game on.